Let's find something better than paper cutouts. Welcome back everyone for another introductory video about Battletech. If you haven't checked it out already, we previously did a video covering the bare basics of gameplay, such as moving, shooting and mech combat in general. And today we're planning on taking that a little further. As you might be aware, at the time this video releases, Catalyst just launched a new Kickstarter, which has a few exciting new toys in it, namely vehicles and battle armor. So we thought we'd do a showcase on them, as those just happen to be a perfect starting point on getting into the combined arms factor of the game. We want to show off a little variety here, and not only explain the added rules, but also want to give you a feel for what these add to the table. So here's what we'll do. We're gonna set up a fitting skirmish to show everything in action. But before starting that, we're going to give it a little flavor and story, to spice it up a bit. Then we'll give a quick overview of the units we've selected for each side. Once we get to the game proper, the first 2 turns of gameplay will be used to show things in depth, explaining rules and quirks of vehicles where they come up. We won't repeat the basics that we've already covered in our previous video, so for any of those, check back there. We'll also try to convey how the moment-to-moment gameplay feels. But a proper battle takes quite some time, so after turn 3, we'll speed things up a bit and switch to a narrative battle report, so you can still see the gist of the whole thing and find out how vehicles fared in a longer conflict. Lastly, we'll do a little aftergame, share our thoughts on how a combined arms game felt compared to pure mech versus mech. So, without further ado, last time our skirmish was firmly set in the time of the Succession Wars, even if the box on our shelf was the clan invasion set from the second Kickstarter. So we figured that era needs a little bit of love as well. After all, some of the most unforgettable parts of this franchise were dedicated to it. The pinnacle form of human art. Jokes aside, the clans field some of the most fearsome mechs in the setting, so they should be a perfect contrast to showcase what the more down-to-earth vehicles can bring to the table when faced with those. Very quick clip notes on the clan invasion. Remember the golden age of the Star League? It ended in a civil war, and at the end of that, the standing military of the fallen hegemony was so fed up with fighting wars that they decided to leave everything behind them. Very behind them. They moved off into an unknown part of the galaxy, far from everyone else. Generations passed and they developed a warrior culture, caste system, strict rules of honor and engagement to rein in the potential chaos of war and supplant it with ritualized combat. They split into several factions called clans, so there would always be a healthy competition. It worked out alright for them. But they never forgot where they came from, and they thought of Terra, Earth, the former seat of the Star League, as a holy place. And what do you do when you have a holy place where somebody else lives? Either pilgrimage or crusade. And now guess why we call it the clan invasion. So, out of the unknown reaches of the galaxy, from beyond the periphery even, come the clans, stronger than ever, to a place where no less than 4 all-out succession wars have been fought. Technology has slowly been bombed to bits or forgotten entirely, and there was never a clear winner who could clean things up afterwards, for some reason. By the by, if you want the full scoop on the clan invasion, just go where everyone goes for that. But now, let's zoom in on our little battle of the day.
Current day. Several clans move in on the inner sphere from several angles. Our story covers the Battle of Anywhere, one of the first planets the clans captured on the way to Terra, located in the space of the somewhat short-lived Federated Commonwealth, in the part that was Steiner space before the merger. So, someday, out of nowhere, over a somewhat sleepy backwater planet on the edge of charted space, appeared a fleet of warships, barking down nonsense about challenges for ownership of the planets, asking for sensitive information about the number and location of defenders, and then touching down with dropships, overrunning the defenders with ease in 3 major hotspots. The Jade Falcon's Scarlet Scythe, the 8th regular of the V galaxy, has landed, and they want the planet. To keep model count low enough to make this into a video, we decided on a side theater instead of the larger battles at Pigrock Hill, Brickham Rollo or Santina Trespass. We're looking at a refit and repair facility of Anywhere's own Dibless Battlemechs. It's certainly a target of opportunity, and the perfect place for an ambitious Star Commander to gain some glory to their name. A bid is held and won by Star Commander Susan Viola, who claims she can take the facility with half an over, 3 mechs and 2 points of elementals.
Taking on a mission in clan culture works basically like a drunken bet. Whoever brags they can accomplish the goal with the least bit of resources gets the job. Just be careful not to overestimate yourself.
The defenders meanwhile find themselves in the middle of rearming and repairing when they notice blips showing up on their radar. Just 3. But judging from the information they have received over radio, even just 3 blips aren't to be underestimated. So, the militia forces are made up of everyone who was unlucky enough to be present, manning pretty much everything that has just finished rearming and repairing, with a wild mixture of 2 battlemechs, VTOLs, hovercraft, tanks, and self-propelled gun and artillery platforms from both the militia and mercenary forces, which coincidentally happens to cover most types of vehicles. Fancy that. Sergeant Major Conrad Hafner assumes command, as he's the most senior ranking officer around, and does his best to protect the valuable asset, staging an ambush in a close-by ravine. So, to show off high-quality battlemechs versus regular army vehicles, I've given myself a Speedy Fire Moth, Battle Cobra and a Mighty Knight Gur, as well as some elemental battle armor infantry. And I've given you everything, apparently. I mean, I've got a Griffin here, Urban Mech, and all kinds of vehicles. Where are the models though? We don't have any models. The Kickstarter isn't out yet, remember? Oh. Well, this looks like a job for proxying.
As the manual itself points out, you can use whatever as units. We all just like to use the models because they're easy to identify and look awesome. But even the official base game hands you some standees to fill out your ranks. And back in the day, people used to cut out printed paper pieces as vehicles. We're spoiled modern gamers though, so we're gonna use some Memoir 44 World War II tanks. For the VTOLs we had to dig deeper though. And again, a friend provided us with some antique unopened blisters with metal VTOLs, which we were allowed to open if we promised to assemble them. That sorts out units. For the map, we're using popular battlefield Pozzoristo Mountains from the Battle for Tukayid map pack, because there's quite varied terrain on here. A road, plains, and a ring of mountains encircling the northern side, as well as woods sprinkled throughout. We wanted something bigger than the single map we used last time. A double map would be a bit much for our cameras though. Well, this is unorthodox, but thankfully with Battletech you can do whatever you like.
Reactor online. Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal. Battlefield surveillance online. Calculating topographical data.
Roll for initiative and go. I lost, you won. So I need to go first. Indeed. And you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 models? Yes, and you only have 5, so I need to move with 2.
A first dash of rules here. If you play with tanks or even infantry, it is quite likely that players will have uneven model counts, either from the start or due to losing a few. This will heavily influence every movement phase of the game, since Battletech uses alternating turns rather than having one player move everything and then have the other react to that. Instead, movement is alternated in steps. Before every step, we see if any player has a multitude of still movable models compared to their opponent. So 2 times as many, 3 times as many, so on and so forth. If that's the case, then for every step, the player with more models has to move models equal to the factor by which they surpass their adversary. So have at least 3 times as many models, move 3 as they move 1. In essence, this makes sure players work through their forces at roughly the same speed. The person who won initiative gets to go second every single step of this process, giving them a slight advantage. You saw that in our case, it was 13 inner sphere models to 5 clan models, so as stated, I will have to move 2 for 1 of green players' models. At least to start out with. Since positioning is vastly important, it is helpful to keep this in mind. It will help make sense of my ongoing struggles of when to move which unit for green to react to. I need to make the first move, and that lets us introduce our first unit type, the Veto. Vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. They fly, they go fast, they're hard as hell to hit with a penalty for everything shooting at them from ground level. On the flip side, they are lightweights by necessity and thus are a bit sparse on armor and armaments. And if their motor or rotor breaks, they drop like a rock. A combustible rock.
Question, do I pick the elevation level once the VTOLs go in? Yes. Does the elevation level matter for counting distance to your target? I do not believe so. So there's no reason to keep these close to the ground unless I want to crash into something? Yes. The maximum elevation they can go to is 500 level. The maximum elevation on this map, on the other hand, is an 11. I saw an 11, yes. So let's say these fly at 12 and hope we're not doing anything wrong with that. Sure. So they've got a cruising speed of 9 and a flanking speed of 14. Checking my handy dandy movement modifier. 14 is indeed better for not getting hit than 9. What a surprise! What a surprise. Yeah, I guess I'll just let these move in at maximum speed. Could, but it also makes them easier to hit for you because you're getting closer to me. Yes, so I think I'll just go with the 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right. What's the facing? Yeah, I should have really thought about this. You can just twist them. Yeah, that makes no difference. Just point them in the direction you want to face. Oh, yeah, that works too. And this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's your opening move. In that case, I will assign one of my elemental suits to my Fire Moth.
Yes, you heard that right. Elemental suits can cling to mechs and ride them into battle. It's awesome. And quite needed, given how slow they are otherwise. What are elementals exactly? We'll get to that when they jump into action. But for now, they are the OG battle armor infantry, and some battle armor infantry can ride on mechs. Well, only Omni-mechs, unless they have magnetic lamps. And only some types of battle armor can do that to begin with. Elementals can. It's complicated, let's leave it at that for now. And that's my movement done.
Alright. This just moves in here.
Okay.
Oh, we need those movement 0 tokens again.
Oh, right.
We can use basically anything.
Exactly, so use the... Yeah, use those.
I'm using the ISS Vanguard little purple cubes.
Yep, that works. Purple cube for stationary. Well, actually that one's not stationary, that moved one.
You're very right. But it's at 0, so that's...
Yep.
Like this. Right.
That's one.
I need to move another one.
Hovercraft. Because Battletech was invented around the short moment in time when these were considered to be the future of vehicles. They move anywhere. If it's a flat surface, they can go there. Grass, water, swamplands, rubble, no wheels, no problems. But they do hate anything they can crash into, so they have to avoid forests unless they want to get stuck. They are middleweight vehicles, up to 50 tons, and moderately armed as a result. But above all, they are speed.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Right. Hard to believe, but it's a white dot.
And hard to believe at all, that's the Savannah Masters. Savannah Masters are speedy boys.
And if a unit moves along a paved road, it gets +1 movement if it starts and ends on that road and keeps all the movement on the road. So this can go 1 extra.
Nice.
That's up to you again, and I have an inkling what your next move might be.
Yes. My second elemental squad is going to stick to the Nightjar, big boy.
It's a little bit slower than the other one like that, but...
Why? You could just move it up 1 extra.
Oh, right.
These are vehicles. You can fit 2 per hex space. I could even move 2 of my vehicles in there with them, or 2 of my elemental squads. The only thing that fully blocks a tile is a mech, and that can still tower over 1 friendly and 2 enemy vehicles.
I'm going to move in another 1.
Right, now I actually need to start moving stuff in. I'm going to start off by jumping in the Nightjar. We don't have to introduce mechs anymore, but we haven't used clan technology yet. So you know what? Let's give you a rough overview of the kind of insane hardware they are fielding. The Nightjar, in its primary configuration, is a nightmare in 3 acts. Twin extended range particle projector cannons at long range, an ultra autocannon 10 for medium range, and a trio of medium pulse lasers for close range backup. With none of these weapons being really bad at their less optimal ranges. It features good armor, is jump capable, and has enough heatsinks to continuously keep firing most of its weapons. The only drawback is its pronunciation. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I am heroically charging in the urban mech. I'm going to have it run so it moves in full speed.
Urban mech. Very common light mech of the inner sphere. Cheap, reliable, big gun, flashlight, looks like a trash can, armored like a trash can, mobile like a trash can, flies like a trash can, incredible ambusher in cities, useless everywhere else, living meme. I want one.
Nice. It's a trash can, but it moves.
Yes, it's very fast for a stationary object.
Well, that's one of yours.
Yeah, I need to move another one. I'm going to surprise everyone and put another Savannah Master over here.
Cool.
Alright,
So 2 more.
2 more.
Wheeled vehicle. Wheels. The old reliable. The best invention since fire. They go anywhere but rough ground or woods. Their weight goes up to 80 tons, so they can outgun hovercraft in a pinch and still go somewhat fast.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, that one moved in with flanking speed. The other one will move in with cruising speed for 1, 2, 3, 4.
You could, in theory, have moved that onto the Urban Mech 2, by the way. Just...
Yeah, but it's not what I'm going to do.
That's fair. That's fair. Right, so I have 2 left to go, which means I move 1, then you move 2, then I move my last one, and you move your last one.
Yeah.
But then we noticed we paid too much attention to our new toys and not enough to the map.
Yeah, from here to here there's a level change. The street goes down here into a level 0, and here back to a level 1.
Alright, let me just...
I was just considering if I wanted to use my mask on my fire moth in order to get 20 movement out of it, but the map is not big enough. Mask is fancy clan technology that lets the mech's legs go into overdrive, but it's its own little system that we don't use today due to limited space on this map. So, pause if you're curious. Since from here to here, it's only 10 spaces.
Yeah.
11, 12, 13, 14. This is the maximum, or this is the maximum I could move. And that's 15 points. That is what I can do without mask. I am very speedy, even without the use of mask. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 50. Ah, I miscounted. Oh well. Oh, also I have to consider elevation changes.
Yes,
That's
you
plus 1,
well.
and that's another plus 1. Since I had to move down and then back up. And he did move at flanking speed. That's not his casual Sunday stroll speed.
Right, I gotta move in 2 more. This is all a lot of stuff.
That's surely not my fault.
Tracked vehicle. Your classic tracked tank. Like the proverbial 800-pound gorilla, these go wherever they like, with the exception of the thickest of woods or the deepest of water. The comparison also holds true in terms of weight. They go up to 100 tons, and not even mech pilots dare ignore their weaponry due to this. They do move at a snail's pace as a result, though.
I don't trust the piloting skills of these guys. Cruising speed. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, that one still lacks a die. Ooh, bad me.
I would love to go up this cliff, but I can only crash into it, so I'll avoid doing that.
I mean, you can, if you like.
It's advanced tactics for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright.
It's light woods, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, perfect. Well then, I'm going to move my last mech, since I don't really have much of a choice here. I'm going to just use walking instead of flanking or running. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's that. 5 X's move, that gives me a +2.
And finally, my last mech will use its jump jets, and it's got an impressive range of 5 on that, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just into the woods here. 2.
Nice. So, and that's into the shooting phase.
Into the shooting phase. Let's see if any of that stuff actually can hit something. I mean, on my side. You've got the guys with training.
Yeah, but... yeah, we'll see.
An addendum to the shooting rules in our first video. Usually, it works in alternating steps, just like movement, with players declaring their targets in turn and deciding on the shots one after the other. But, since it is supposed to happen all at the same time, even to the point that destroyed units aren't removed until after they have taken their shots, there is a popular house rule to which we adhered without even thinking. A lot of Battletech players like to just write down all of their targeting after the movement is done, and once everyone is ready and everything is set in stone, those scripts are played out and the dice are rolled. This has two upsides. For one, it leads to interesting tactical decisions about how much firepower you want to put on any one target and risk either not taking them down due to too little focus fire or maybe wasting a few shots due to overkill. And on the other hand, it is a nice palate cleanser to just relax for a while, roll your shots, see the battle play out in your mind's eye, before the next turn starts and you need to get back into the commander's chair once movement, and thus decision making, resumes. So, as you can see, we went with write down and see instead of turn taking.
Alright.
Who goes first?
Why don't you start by showing off what all of those masses of vehicles can do?
Alright, I'll show what all of those vehicles can do.
I know we wanted to show a bit more of the gameplay during the first turns, but in this specific case, how about we just give you a quick summary?
My disappointment is immeasurable.
Nothing happened and yet I'm sweating.
Your bid.
Well then,
I'm guessing it'll go a lot better for you.
So, let's start with a small guy. The Fire Moth, using 2 ER medium lasers at the Savannah Master 3. We are not going to show you how we arrive at our target number every time, but here it is just this once to refresh your memory of how this works. That is, I have a gunnery of 3. It's in short range, you move for 3, I ran, that comes out at 8. Twin ER medium laser. That is 1-8.
Yes.
So that hits on the vehicle table.
Wait a moment, I need to find the vehicle table.
No.
Here. Yeah. 2d6.
You didn't think we'd get to introduce this much new stuff without also adding in more tables, did you? This is Battletech, after all. Vehicle damage works a little different than mech damage. They have their own table for hit locations, for example, and some of these are different. After all, no legs or torsi on a tank. Instead, we have the 4 sides and maybe a turret. If there is no turret, any hit on it, instead, goes onto the side facing the attacker. Also, you can't destroy a vehicle in parts and have it go on. If you destroy all armor and structure on one side, it is generally assumed that you killed or incapacitated the crew upon breaking through. There is no tiny cockpit on these after all, where the pilot is safely tucked away. And, of course, they also have their own crit table.
That's a 4.
A 4 is front with motive damage.
Front with motive system damage. Ooh, okay, that was quick.
No, Seems I wasn't done explaining. Vehicles not only have a table for crits, they also have another table for motive system damage, as their wheels, tracks or air cushion is damaged and begins to show that wear and tear. It'll make them harder to control, influencing their driving skill, reducing their movement points, or even rendering them completely immobile.
Motive system damage is another 2d6.
Yes.
That's an 8 on the motive system. Moderate damage, -1 cruising movement point, +2 modifier to all driving rolls.
Oh, looks like I missed the table within the table. This wasn't an 8. As the Savannah Master is a hovercraft, there is an additional +3 modifier, because their motive system, the armored skirt for the air cushion, is especially vulnerable. Luckily, this was the only time we messed that up to any effect.
And then, for a secondary target, since that clearly wasn't enough, the Firemoth will use the SRM-6 in its right arm to shoot at the warrior to its left.
Right?
And it would have used the SRM-4 on its chest too, but there's currently an elemental sitting on top of it, so it can't actually use any of its Towser-mounted weapons. As awesome as it is to have a bunch of crazy people in power armor ride your mech to glory, they actually have to physically go onto specific handholds on the mech. And you can't use any weapons that happen to be installed next to those handholds. Since these are all located around the front and rear torsi, a healthy squad of elementals reduces your mech to only be able to use arm-mounted weapons, as well as the front CT, since that also stays clear. Also, if the mech gets hit in a location carrying an elemental, the soldier might tank the hit for the carrier, possibly getting shot right off the mech. But since elementals are pretty hardy, this may actually end up working in your favor to protect the lighter machine.
Can't use the missile to shoot the elemental up to the...
No. Sadly, as much as the elemental would probably like that, since the SRM is only 8 points of damage, come on. But no, I can't.
No rocket jumping.
No rocket jumping. So that is one SRM-6 at 10s. That is
Not a 10.
Well, that's the Moth done. Next up is the Battle Cobra. 2 large pulse lasers at Savannah Master 4. Hitting on 9s. Twin large pulse at 9s is no hit. Right, just realized when calculating the heat, we forgot the Battle Cobra didn't shoot with large lasers, but with large pulse lasers. We haven't really used pulse that much, but pulse weapons give a -2 modifier to hit, because they are easier to aim. So the 8 I rolled actually hit.
Which melts off the front armor, but doesn't
not
do anything else.
Does not destroy the internals.
Front of the vehicle falls off. It's now very well ventilated.
Nightjar, using twin ER PPCs, hitting on 12s at the Warrior 2. Everything coming together, hitting on 12s. Very misty. No drop. But it's only 30 points of heat. I can reduce that. This is yet another thing the clans didn't lose through centuries of warfare, and instead even improved on. Double heat sinks. Each of these reduce 2 points of heat instead of the measly 1 point the Inner Sphere single heatsink is capable of. As a result, clan pilots generally can fire off insane amounts of advanced and hot weaponry and still have no trouble keeping their mechs heat board in the green.
Alright, time to write down the heat and go again.
So
You go first.
I go first. So, since I have only 3 models to move, and you have 13, I will now move one of mine, and you have 4 times as many as I do, so you have to move 4 models.
Right.
And my first order of business is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4,
5, and that's it. I'm not going to go any further. 4 spaces moved, so that's a +1. Didn't want to run here and risk falling and breaking my leg for the skid test.
That could have been bad.
Speaking of things that could have been bad, soon after this our recording got interrupted. We had to reset and redo a few moves, and I messed up a tiny bit. Nothing of consequence, but watch the amazing teleporting bulldog.
So, 4 models.
4 models. 1,
This one stays in place.
not surprised.
This one jump jets down here.
Yeah, because it's a flying trash can. Very speedy and maneuverable for a stationary object.
Flanking speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, but only 4 spaces moved.
Yep.
All in all. That's 3 of mine. Now let's use the cruising speed on this, which was a 9. And that's 4 of mine.
Right, so I'm just going to jump.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm going to jump here. Just in case someone wants to do anything about that warrior. It worries me.
I've got this one Savannah Master, which is really shitty on its piloting, but it had a cruising speed of 13. That got reduced by 1, so it's still got a movement speed of 12, which isn't that shabby. So Savannah Master 3 is going to use that. 1, 2, 3. Don't want it to crash into that fire moth, so I'm turning it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
It's a
10.
level change here.
Oh, you're right.
So
10, 11, 12,
Right.
I think.
Yep.
Yeah. It's 1 model moved.
That's 1 model move.
This one still can pilot. Let's see if we can make that count.
Risk it, risk it.
Risk what exactly? Side-slipping. Under certain circumstances, vehicles can skid. Hovercraft and VTOL have terrible traction, for obvious reasons. They basically can be expected to slide around all the time. Now hexes are supposed to be 30 meters across, so usually you can ignore a little drifting. That's why this rule only applies if you push the pedal to the metal and move at flanking speed, what you'd call running if you were a mech. If you push your vehicle to the limits, you need a good pilot to keep it under control. It works like this. Hovercraft declares flanking speed. Now, whenever it turns and then moves into a new hex, there needs to be a piloting roll. 2d6, roll higher than your skill value. If the roll is passed, movement continues as normal. If it is failed, the movement continues on in the direction you were going before. This doesn't cost movement points, and it goes for, look up the formula, as much as your margin of error was on the test, but never more than half as many hexes as you have already moved prior to losing control. Maybe keep a cheat sheet handy for that. If there is nothing in the way, then once you come to a stop, movement continues on as normal. This can be a great way to squeeze out some extra movement. If there is something in the way, the fun really starts. Hovercraft can get stuck in woods and are immobilized for the rest of the game. Oh, and if there is an enemy, you make an accidental charge attack, requiring the involuntary target to either take the hit or attempt a dodge, which they can only do with a piloting check, and only if they still have their movement action left for the turn, which they then need to do in its entirety, before the drifting continues onward, possibly threatening to crash into more stuff. By the way, if you charge a building or a cliffside with one of these accidental charges, expect them to win. As you can imagine, this can easily lead to some unforeseen hilarity if there are a lot of hovercraft taking part in any given battle. Lastly, I should add that it even factors into the shooting phase. An out-of-control drifting vehicle is harder to hit since it moves in an unpredictable way. And of course, they have a harder time aiming at anything themselves.
1, 2, 3, and I want to turn it now for a 4, and let's see if it crashes into that mech.
Did you want it to crash?
Maybe, I mean, it's only got a small laser.
Sure, go.
I could make it into just a big bullet made of metal on wheels. Oh, on a hovercraft. Got confused by the miniature. Nope.
That's fine. We can enter the next hex.
So we're at 4, 5, 6.
Another test. Does it crash into the cliff? No.
It doesn't.
7, 8, 9.
9.
Elevation change.
Oh,
yeah. There's 9. That's 9.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Sure, crash into that cliff.
Well, that over there, yeah. 5. I've got a driver skill of 5.
So you're all good.
I'm all good. No problem. No problem. You're all good. 15. What's like? So like. 16 and
Do you want to risk 17 turns?
17.
Oh, wait, you actually don't have to roll on that if you don't want to enter a new hex. You can just go here, 17, turn, and then end it.
And I'm going to do that. Just have an awesome drift moment.
Yeah, that works. And that's actually very accurate to how a hovercraft would move. Just a big drifting circle around. I mean, it takes a bit of a skilled pilot, but you have your squirrels. And now my Cobra has a Savannah Master in its back. Luckily, this pilot's name is not Savannah. Oh, I actually put the wrong die in there. Oops. That's actually how the Savannah Master got its name, by the way. They pitted the prototype against a pilot in a light mech, and he was called Savannah something, and he lost to a 5-ton hovercraft. Do you want to move the other 2 hovercrafts because, well, you're at it? Or do you maybe want to...
Maybe I want to keep at least one of those in the way there.
Sure.
But I could move the other one.
Okay, I know who's getting kicked.
Oh, right, you can kick me. But it's getting a bit harder with my movement speed. So, yeah, you can kick it. You might topple over though, so...
That's that's an 8+ to hit. Let's see if I can do that. No, kicks are -2, that's a 6 up. Okay, I can do that. 7 up, because I moved. Oh well. 7 is still not bad. That's the 3rd. You need 1 more.
Alright, so... I would like my other warrior to be behind your mech.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to be smart about this, because if I moved right up to you and then turned, I might just side-slip off the map.
Yep,
And then we would have to look up the rules for that.
that's true.
Of course, we did this afterwards, so you wouldn't have to. Seems there is no simple answer though. If you take the Battletech rules in their entirety, there would be a hypothetical other map adjacent to this map, especially if you used air combat, which zooms out a bit more. Some players have the units come back after a while, others just have them disappear for the rest of combat. Let's just say, we're glad it didn't happen and we didn't have to make a call on it. Since information on this seems to be hard to find, even online, any comments on this from experienced players are very appreciated. Maybe we can all learn a thing.
right now let's do this smart and plan for failure. So 1, 2, 3. Now
you want to do this. Let's see if it happens.
it does.
It does.
3, 4, 5. Let's see.
Let's see. It happens.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. How much is my flanking speed? It's 14. 12, 13.
This I dislike.
So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units moved.
Right, that's my cue to move the fire moth.
It is.
The fire moth is going to walk. I don't want it to go ham and run all the time, so I'm going to be okay with its 10 walking speed. This is where I noticed that things didn't quite go as planned for me. I wanted to rush the fire moth forward to unload the elementals into Red's backline, but there were a lot of guns staring me down there, and the hovercraft and VTOLs were now in my own bag. You've really quite pushed on the offense. I dislike that. I wanted to go into your backline, but I don't think I can. I need to support my own backline. This is bad.
I thought you've got very good ranged capabilities. If I stay back too much, you'll just pick me off one by one.
Well, that's true. The issue is you have an LRM-20 carrier, so you basically have the same ranged capabilities. And the large laser aren't a joke either. But I can't go down the road because there's an AC-20 waiting for me. And if it hits, the fire moth explodes. Because it's a fire moth. It literally can't take an AC-20 anywhere. So I can't go there. It hasn't even moved yet, so I need to get out of here. That's silly. I want to unload the elementals too. I can unload them in a turn where I haven't ran, but instead walked at the end of the fire moth movement.
Oh, so if you turn and go back right now, the elementals can't be here.
No. So I have to stay here for a turn and not get blown up, because that's an important bit, because I don't want to lose the fire moth. Finally, after counting distances a few and changing my mind several times, I ended up moving here. My elementals are out again.
Yeah.
Well, they'll have to make do. I can't risk my fire moth. I don't want to risk my fire moth. I'm going to unload my elementals on the same space I currently occupy.
Yes.
So that means you live here now.
Elementals.
1 point of elementals, 5 people in power. They're basically roided up infantry, each of them weighing a ton and using that to bring an impressive 10 points of armor per suit, with 1 additional point, internal structure, for the soldier beneath. There are several loadouts, but these each have a max scale machine gun and bring an SRM-2 with 4 missiles.
Do these still have a move?
No, they cannot shoot, they cannot move. They are just dismounting. That's that. They count as having moved 0 this turn, by the way. And now you have to move everything you have left.
He can play spotter if he likes to.
Ooh, yeah, that's what they do.
So now I've got this bulldog. Oh no, it can't. It would just drive off the cliff.
Well, that is not optimal.
So
Yeah, no, it cannot make that. How did it even get up there?
it drove in here. As it turns out, I've managed to accidentally park one tank up on a high cliff it can't possibly get down from, rendering it almost stationary.
Let that be a lesson to always keep the battlefield in mind.
Since I'm here anyways, just go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Because
Now you're in the woods. And
That's
there's a
better.
turret in the woods, and it's staying there for the rest of the game.
I've built a turret.
Nice. Why did it drive in there?
Because I thought it would be smart to spread out a little.
Yeah. I mean,
It certainly makes sure that I stay spread out.
yeah.
So mission accomplished, I guess.
Smart commander.
Heads up.
That works. AC-20 coming ever closer.
Bulldog. Where are you? You're in light woods. Right, so we're turning 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I've got 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Uh-oh. Fire mob has its back turned. Griffin takes advantage.
Or tries. Right, that's all the movement. Everything written down and at the ready.
Everything written down and at the ready. Do you want to do the honors again?
Well, all the dice are over on your side. Why don't you go first this time?
Sure, that works. So, I have a moth. Moth just pumps everything it has in a big alpha into the helicopter, which is basically its only valid target. This one.
Yes.
So that is 1 ER medium laser, 2 ER medium lasers, 1 SRM6, and 1 SRM4. So,
Also, do you maybe want to
yes,
make these D2 ER medium lasers because they basically look the same?
sure. Then these are the 6s and these are the 4s.
6s?
SRM6.
Oh yeah.
That SRM6 hits, that SRM4 hits, that medium hits, and this is a miss. We'll see what happens to a warrior that's being struck by a multitude of missile barrages as well as an ER laser.
Right, hit locations.
Hit location for the laser. That's a 3. What's that on a helicopter?
You're asking me. That's the rotors.
That's the rotors. Oh.
Rotor hits are a little bit special. Rotors are hard to score a full hit on since they are constantly moving. So for every 10 damage a shot puts on them, they only take 1 point of actual damage, rounded up. So 1 to 10 is only 1 damage, whereas 11 would result in 2 damage. Also, since they are the bit that keeps the copter floating, every point of damage on them reduces the VTOL's cruising speed by 1 point for the rest of the game. Also, there's a lot more shots on this one, so let's speed this up a bit.
And a 10 is another rotor hit. That one goes internal.
Oh, so I get a crit roll against the rotor.
Yes.
Cool. What's that do?
Critical hit table rotors.
5.
5 is no critical hit.
Oh, so sad.
So yeah, you slowed this down considerably.
But it's still in the air. Oh well.
It is.
That was the moth. Next up, we have a Cobra. Battle Cobra puts 2 large pulse lasers into the Hetzer 1.
Two
That's
hits.
2 hits. That's 2 hits with the large pulses.
Yeah.
That's a 3 and an 11.
Right, the 3 is the rear with a motive system hit. Oh no, that's the front with a motive system hit.
Okay. Motive system hit for the 3
Yeah.
is a 7.
7 is minor damage plus 1 modifier to all driving skill rolls.
Right. Then the 11.
Is the turret. So,
Right. I hit the turret, and since it doesn't have a turret, it just hits the side I attacked, so it's another front hit.
another 10 damage on the front.
Yeah.
Okay, this thing is really sturdy, so it's still got 10 hit points on the front.
Alright, well, I'll just keep trying. And then I have another 2 small pulse lasers aimed at Savannah Master 2. That's a secondary target, giving me a +1 modifier. However, it's still a 7.
So that leaves some scratches.
And then, last but not least, we have the Nightgear. Nightgear is going to attack the Griffin with 2 ER PPCs and a medium pulse laser. No, 2 medium pulse lasers. Yeesh. And everything hits on 8s.
Still got a little bit of armor left.
That's nice, let's change that. Medium pulse lasers. Well, at least it put some dents in it.
Yeah, that's in danger now. Right, over to my shooting phase.
Yeah. Lots of backstriking.
Starting with Savannah Master 1.
Yes.
That's just spotting the elementals for the LRM.
This is how indirect fire works. I've got a missile carrier tucked away in the back. It is surrounded by cliffs so it doesn't get blown up. But how can it shoot what it can't see? That's where spotters come in. One of my other units can decide to spot for my LRM carrier. Indirect fire is always a bit harder, so shooting like this is automatically A+1. It even is A+2 if the spotter is distracted by also firing their weapons. But we're not doing that right now. Additionally, the movement modifiers of the spotter also affect the indirect fire. If they cruised, walked, flanked or ran, their shot calling isn't as accurate as if they just stayed in place. And line of sight modifiers are also taken from the point of view of the spotter. Other than that, indirect fire works just the same as any other shot.
Yeah. The elementals. Okay.
Yeah, because,
They need to be blown up, apparently.
well, something needs to be blown up and I don't have a really good shot at that fire moth.
True. So, shoot the elementals.
Just try to get some damage on the board.
Yeah.
Savannah Master 2 is shooting 2 small lasers at the Battle Cobra.
Yep.
Right in front of it. It's got a gunnery of 4, moved for 5.
I moved 6.
6, and that's
That's
that. 2 small lasers.
2 6s.
There'll just be a few scratches. 1 hit.
1 hit.
That's, well, 2. That's critical hit on the center torso.
Armor blow through on the CT. That's actually. Do
Let's
we want to do the floating crit that has been suggested like 20 times?
The floating crit is another extremely popular house rule. In vanilla Battletech, if you roll a 2 for a hit location, you manage an armor blow through and immediately get a chance to crit on that side. But that would only make it possible to ever get that armor ignoring crit on the 3 torsi and their backsides. To change things up and add more variety, people like to float that crit, meaning once the 2 is rolled, you roll for hit location again and then get the crit chance on whatever location you determined with the second roll.
11. Critical hit into the 11. The 11 is the left arm. Correct? Yes. Left arm. So then, roll a d6. What component did you destroy?
5.
5. That's the large pulse laser gone. Well, I still have one left. It's fine. It's fine.
I disarmed you a little.
Now the arm is still left, and there's a small pulse laser waiting to retaliate.
Still got the Savannah Master 4 in
Yeah.
the back. 1 hit.
That's 1 hit. 5 is the right leg. Ankle biting me with a small laser. Well, you hit on 11s. It's
No
worth
reason
the
not
shot.
to shoot. It's
Yeah.
it's a vehicle. It doesn't care about heat. So
So it
never
just-
say never.
Never say never. That Savannah Master tries to earn his keep. Well, that worked out.
It did. So the Bulldogs. Bulldog 1. 11.
11.
We just saw that's possible,
Fine.
but
That-
that's not no joy. And the Bulldog 2. Let's go.
Nope. That's not good.
Hetzer 1 is going to shoot at the elementals because
At
it can actually hit that.
Okay.
So it's got a 4, 6. We've got to take the elementals into account. It's a 7
7.
because they're small
Yep.
targets.
Yep. And
And then it's
range.
range of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, that's long range. 11. 11 to hit.
11 to hit.
That's one thing about vehicles, they don't care about heat. They don't even track heat. So, as long as you bring enough ammunition, you should always take a shot, no matter how slim your chances.
That's a dead elemental. Which one did you kill? Roll a d6.
1.
Cool. Well, he died. Quickly.
Screw that guy in particular.
Yes, very.
Hetzer 2. Same deal. 12.
12. Okay.
Yep. Always take your shots.
Okay.
I don't believe it.
I promise this isn't scripted. That's 3 suits left. What the actual... I thought you guys were sturdy. Stop eating AC-20s.
Alright, so that's the Hetzers done. Over to the Vetols.
Yeah, please.
Vetol number 1 is going to target the Battle Cobra with 1 SRM4.
Alright.
So. Veto number 2.
Yep.
Same deal, Nightgirl.
Nope, that's a miss.
Right, so much for the epic sliding into the back. Huh. This isn't working out. Mechs aren't good targets. LRMs, Elemental. 3 LRM-20s.
Against 3 elementals. Let's see.
So,
what's
let's
the
do some
range?
maths. I didn't move.
Nope.
We're at 4s. But this one moved, so I get a +1 from his movement for the spotting.
Yep.
Um,
And another +1 because you're shooting indirectly.
and another +1 because I'm shooting at elementals.
Yep.
And now I probably have these in... they might be mid-range actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
That's mid-range.
Mid-range, so another +2, so 9s hit.
Yep.
For Inner Sphere, these are perfectly acceptable numbers. These are perfectly acceptable rolls. So, 2 LRM-20 cluster hits.
Yeah, go for it.
I just
Gotta find out how many missiles hit and where. It takes a while. Let's spare you the details.
That's alright, I have 1.
Right, so what's left of these is one guy who's completely without his armor and one guy who's marginally less without his armor, having 3 points still left. But just so you know, their suits actually still work perfectly fine.
Good. The Irby
Oh no.
is a trash can. Literally.
Oh,
That's all
yes.
he's doing right now. The Griffin, on the other hand, is targeting the Fire Moth. One large laser, one LRM-5 on the Fire Moth. That's just enough that he doesn't
Cook himself?
Yeah.
Well, you may have just destroyed the Fire Moth. Well, the Fire Moth did what it was supposed to. Ish.
It carried the elementals into battle.
And out of battle again. Yeah.
So yeah,
Well.
you probably should have just charged in and put
Unloaded
these down
them.
somewhere.
Yeah, probably. I didn't realize the Fire Moth was that squishy, but
Neither did I.
But as usual, I'm...
You know, I really wanted it to focus down that Fire Moth this turn,
But you
but
didn't
I
because...
didn't think I could hit it, and I only thought the Griffin had a fair shot at it, so I thought I might as well just get one
just
shot
soften
of it.
it up a little.
Yeah. I mean, the Bulldogs also fired at it, but they had rubbish chances.
Well, that's everything you had, right?
That's everything I had.
Almost nothing happened, right?
Let's have a coffee break.
Whilst sipping our coffee, we also still let the Battle Cobra try to stomp a hovercraft in melee. But it missed, and it didn't fall over, so nothing much to show there. Looks like we've established most of the rules.
And we've even managed to squeeze out a few examples.
But now everything is getting into optimal firing range, and there will be lots and lots of dice rolling. We've seen a bit of the mechanical side of things and how it handles for the players, so I think we can begin to gloss over the specifics from here on out. Let's change perspective a little and instead just go with the flow of the narrative.
See how numbers turn into a battle and how the back and forth basically writes its own story. And as you've seen the gamey side of things, let's recap how things stand on the field of battle from a more narrative perspective.
The Jade Falcon troops had hoped to just shove the measly Innosphere defenders aside, but contrary to their expectations, the Steiner forces chose to meet them head on. Using a bend in the road, they appeared almost out of the blue and forced a confrontation where they hoped to bring their superior numbers to bear. As we look over the battlefield now, Steiner's Savannah Masters have ridden across the open valley plains and encircled the Jade Falcon advance. The sudden appearance of a whole convoy of vehicles even got the Fire Moth to turn around and hastily seek cover. In vain, as the Steiner field commander in his Griffin suddenly jumps the ridge and fires its weapons into the speeding mech's rear armor, making the machine tumble and crash, just as it slowed down to allow its elemental squad to dismount in relative safety. A safety that was only illusory to begin with. 2 of them get torn to shreds by AC-20 shots, and the rest gets showered in missile fire, allowing only 2 of the 5 to struggle back to their feet. Meanwhile, the clans so far only managed superficial damage on the Steiner troops, denting one of the circling aircraft and peeling some armor off of one of the Hetzers. But things may yet turn, as Star Commander Viola curses under her breath and advances her Nightgir, thinking to herself, let's see these barbarians find an answer to an instrument of war such as this. This time the clans take initiative, necessitating the Steiner troops to make the first move. Hesitantly.
I have to move 4. Haha, no I don't, because one of my units is a turret. I have to move 3. Maybe it'll just stay as a turret.
Yeah, or you move it later,
Yeah.
if you want to move something else.
Also keep the Irby in place,
Oh.
because so far, if he moves, he needs to run at least.
That's true.
Maybe I'll just let him take a shot this time.
Let's see. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to move 1, right?
Yeah.
The clans cautiously have the elementals advance to see if they can bait out more Innosphere movement that way.
speed jumping for one.
The Steiner soldiers, however, just try to further dig in their positions overlooking the open valley, hoping to cripple the invaders further before they can reach them. Then one of the warriors tries to circle back behind the Battle Cobra, and with full flanking speed, that needs a pilot with a steady hand.
Turn. And this is deliberate. Maybe I can just get a few more movement points out of this.
Nope, pilot's too good.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pilot's too good. 8, 9. And I moved 7 spaces. So that's a 3.
That's a 3, alright.
The speedy Savannah Masters keep up distracting maneuvers so their slower comrades have a chance of avoiding too much focus from the clanner's slow but steady advance.
Finally, the Star Commander makes a move. She had seen the elementals get targeted by large autocannons and heavy LRM batteries, too great a threat to be ignored. So she moves to the northern side of the ridge, planning to neutralize the AC-20 and enabling her elemental point to take out the enemy missile battery at the same time.
This is the best I can do.
This doesn't go unnoticed by Warrior 2, which flies away in a straight line before doubling back on itself to keep shadowing the giant mech.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you're just flying circles in order to have flown any distance.
Yeah. Just need the 7 spaces, so turning twice is alright. Now.
Over radio, Sergeant Major Hafner and his Griffin and the Hetzer's crew come to the assessment that the overwhelming numbers of their troops should hopefully prove too much for the enemy to keep track of. They decide to take a risk, hold position and aim their shots this time. All the while, the Savannah Masters keep running interference.
Finally, the Battle Cobra takes it upon itself to charge forward, hoping to close in on the Hetzer and take its fearsome AC-20 out of the equation, which would go a long way towards leveling the playing field. This sudden advance even takes him past the range of the vehicle's gun.
Now it is time for shots to ring out across.
Had to scoot back a little bit because it's at heat 5, so movement -1, which means running -2. Oh well.
Don't mind me just changing something up with my targeting.
Yeah, I figured you
With that done, it is time for shots to ring out across the battlefield.
You started last turn. Let's just go with me this turn.
Sure.
I don't have the most brilliant of hit chances anyways.
Ooh, so
So-
we can end the turn of the bank, because I have awesome hit chances.
A Savannah Master's small laser engulfs elemental number 2 in red fire. The vehicle pilot's cheers turn to curses as the elemental keeps moving, despite the melted armor plates literally dripping off of its body. These things really are hardy beyond belief.
He is now also wearing underwear.
The Hetzers fire their well-aimed salvos. Hetzer 1's shot whizzes past the Battle Cobra, whilst Hetzer 2's shell detonates on the Night Girl's right arm. The spotter staring in disbelief when the limb still seems to be functioning fine. What monstrosity just shrugs off a hit like that?
24 points of armor in the right arm. Reduced to 4 in a single shot.
The rest of the AFFC troops dishes out what firepower they have, but none of the shots connect with any noticeable results.
Just should strip some armor.
Yeah, that's just stripping some armor. It has 6 points remaining.
So yeah, I didn't really hit much this turn.
No, that wasn't impressive. Let's show you impressive clan style. Setting myself up for failure here. Elementals. The elementals fire their machine guns at the passing hovercraft in retaliation, but have a hard time hitting it.
As a side note, infantry does not take penalties for splitting their shots onto secondary targets. Also, weren't those guys also carrying missile launchers? Oh shoot.
Reduces the cruising speed.
That would have been much more impressive if instead of cluster 2 they would have hit on cluster 5.
Yeah.
But Oh well, can't have everything. Meanwhile, the Battle Cobra hears the command, take down those AC-20s, and it proceeds to do so, pushing down all the buttons and unleashing a full alpha strike. The lasers combining to fully melt through the vehicle's front and cooking its insides.
First blood for you.
First blood for me. Not counting the 3 elementals.
Also, I'm so sad there's another Hetzer on the same sheet for me, so I still have all of these sheets to work with.
I'm so sorry. Still hearing the confirmed kill on radio, the commander trails her Nightgo's guns onto the other Hetzer and fires all she's got, leading to 2 of the elementals riding on the heavy mech to curse and swing briefly out of the way as the weapons next to their handholds ring out.
You crazy Surat! Can they do that?
Not usually, but I forgot that they were on there for a moment and still fired the pulse lasers, so let's just say that they did.
The left side is completely stripped.
The left side is also the far side.
Yeah.
Huh, okay, cool, whatever. But that is my turn done. Less impressive than I had hoped for, but still impressive.
Yes, you got rid of one tank and the other one is ready to fall apart.
Yeah, but it gets another shot out of a very big gun. Okay,
You go first.
I have to go first, which is great. So I have 3 models, you have 12, so that's still I move 1, you move 4.
Yeah.
Do I want to hide? Doesn't sound very clan-like.
It is worth noting that the strict honor rules by which the clans usually act have no place in this battle.
To receive honorful treatment, one has to be worthy of it. At this point in time, no one in the inner sphere has the slightest idea who or even what the clans are, let alone how their culture works. They fight the only way they learned how, with every dirty trick in the book, and without adhering to any sort of caste system, apart from their own command structure and the rules of aristocracy. So clan leaders are quick to label them as Dasgra, disgraced and not worthy of honorable combat.
No respect.
Yeah. So that's why I didn't really bother with that.
Yeah.
Star Commander Susan Viola decides to put everything into stopping the final Hetzer. Maybe overcompensating a little for the fact that the tiny vehicle dared besmirch the sanctity of her mech, and as consequence, not making the smartest move. I am going to move my biggest guy first, and that may seem like an idiot move. Because it is.
The missile carrier just keeps loading the next volley, and Bulldog 2 resigns to its fate as an immobile weapons platform. Meanwhile, the crew of the Hetzer use the last bit of life left in their vehicle, trying to take out Goliath before it can stomp on David, or at least hoping for a mutual kill. One of the Savannah Masters drifts to a halt as they decide that their time is better spent spotting the Nightgo's position rather than trying to get any use out of their woefully underpowered laser weapons. As the elementals keep moving forward, Warrior 2 encircles the Nightgo once more.
Going for that rear shot again.
Need to.
The urban mech pilot radios some complaints that forests are just about the least urban environment he can think of.
I want to move you, but I can't possibly get some better protection for you.
No, that's. I mean, you can jump.
I can
That
jump
makes him harder to hit,
and makes him completely useless as well.
but harder to hit. As the hovercraft keep dashing around the foothills, the Battle Cobra tries to initiate a pincer move on the Griffin. So this one cooled down again, so it's back to 9. Run.
But Sergeant Major Hafner notices the advancing blip, fires up the Griffin's jump jets, and manages to touch down directly in the clan mech's rear. With one Savannah Master closing in to provide some supporting fire. And, sensing blood in the water, Warrior 1 and Bulldog 2 likewise turn their sights on the Battle Cobra. Maybe the ambusher has charged into an ambush themselves.
Let's shoot stuff. Alright, since we've taken turns every turn, you go first.
Right, I go first.
In that case...
As Susan checks her Nightgore's IFF, she notices with dismay that she only has the barely functioning assault gun in her sights and nothing else really worth shooting at. But then she notices the AC-20 turning towards her and decides that this is neither the time nor the place for a scrap.
Yep. That's gone. That's a goner. Yep. The Nightgore did not enjoy that AC-20 hit. But I can finally get rid of one of the papers.
Hooray! Don't get rid of it yet, you still need the AC-20.
Oh yeah, you're right.
The Battle Cobra, seeing blips on all sides and noticing the trail of the Griffin's jump jets disappearing behind it, is understandably distracted. So a tree eats the shot that was meant for the urban mech. But that makes the pilot pull it together for the secondary shots.
Yeah, it still has some front armor left.
Savannah Master 2 can thank their lucky stars for this.
The elementals make use of their last SRMs and begin to take on the urban mech hiding in the trees.
Did I get rid of it yet? No.
That's all she wrote. Clans are done.
On the militia's side of things, most of the hovercraft don't have anything in their sights. Only Savannah Master 2, cockpit heating up under the impact of the Cobra's laser fire, answers in turn. Too bad small lasers aren't the most impressive of weapons. Much more impressive is the armament of Bulldog 1, and the shots begin to add up. Konrad Hafner, fired up by seeing the Cobra staggering under the impacts, decides to go for the kill. But only manages surface damage. The Cobra has weathered the storm. Up on the hills, the Hetzer vainly fires its last shot, the barrel of the AC-20 already twisting away as the vehicle is torn apart by inner explosions. The crew will be mourned greatly.
Now I can get rid of the sheet.
Yeah.
Warrior 2 does its best to avenge their friends, but all it manages are more scratches on the seemingly invulnerable Nightgore. And one elemental, almost slipping off as a missile, blows up right next to its handhold.
Okay.
That's
a
just
few pockmarks.
Yeah,
Nothing else.
just a little bit damage here and there.
And right as the Nightgore relaxes, suddenly over the ridge... That leg doesn't look so good. Oh, and that happened.
Was one of the two survivors. Yeah.
Despite all the impacts, the Battle Cobra manages to stay upright, staggering forward and keeping its balance.
Thus, dodging out of the way of the Griffin's kick, almost letting the inner sphere mech topple itself, but not quite.
And that's that. Oh yeah, by the way, heat? No heat. Initiative! So, you go first.
I go first.
1, 2. Now the great thinking starts.
Savannah Master 4 tries to put more pressure on the Nightgore's position, with its small lasers from behind the ridge. Yeah, what was I thinking there?
I have no idea. I'm jumping these over here.
This.
Actually, you know what? I am jumping into the space of the Urbi. Let's see if it moves out of the way.
The urban mech is so surprised to see an almost naked elemental jumping at it, rocket boots working in defiance of all logic and physics, that it decides to defy the very game rules themselves and runs backwards into the woods. Yeah, it needed to be running to have enough speed, and no, that should not have been possible. The Savannah Masters fall in line and try to storm the foothills, hoping to cut off any escape the damaged Battle Cobra might have, and also to maybe get the Nightgore to waste shots on them, counting on their speed to keep them safe. even if they resign themselves fully to only using their cruising speed, given that cliffs are everywhere here, waiting for careless pilots.
The Night Girl only takes a few deliberate steps, and Star Commander Viola finally gives her increasingly impatient Nova Point the command to disembark and join the battle.
Everything draws in closer. The next few exchanges will decide who takes this battle. The sergeant hesitates for a moment as the Night Girl moves into view, asking himself if he can risk trying to cut off the Cobra.
How much rear armor does a Griffin have?
If you ask that question, the answer usually is
Not enough.
But finally, jumping the Griffin up into some live woods overlooking the battlefield, hoping for a good command post and still being able to bring its weapons to bear.
Battle Cobra, on the other hand, starts circling around to fall in line with the commander and her elementals, hoping to present a more unified front.
Alright.
And that's that. Shooting phase. Right then. You shoot.
Taking turns again.
The hovercraft can't do anything but spot the Night Girl for the LRM carrier. Bulldog 2 keeps pelting the Cobra with everything it has, and it begins to show results. But despite tearing through the armor in several places, no actual damage is done to the mech's systems.
No luck on crits. No luck on crits. So the right arm and the left arm, which carry all the weapons, each have 2 internal points left.
Nice.
Not even the fire support of Warrior 1 can alleviate this. And another hail of LRMs rain down upon the Night Girl. And finally, the Colossus begins to tumble. Literally, as one hip actuator is blown apart.
You destroyed the Night Girl's hip. That may
now-
cause problems later.
Konrad Hafner now decides to confront the enemy commander himself and... You just do you. Where was I? Yeah, epic commander versus commander fight. And Hafner grins to himself as he sees an AC-10 drop off the arm. But that grin is quickly wiped away
When he notices that the Night Girl salvo is already flying at the Griffin, shredding the mech to bits, leaving it barely standing and disarmed apart from a single LRM-5 launcher.
So the right arm is destroyed. That's both the medium lasers and the large laser gone.
So you have only what left now?
LRM-5.
Oh. Oof. Okay, so that one is
Crippled.
basically crippled.
And the punishment isn't even over.
Sergeant Major Hafner admits to himself to have been lucky to have survived even this single round of shots from the enemy. Suddenly, victory seems to slip slowly out of grasp.
Does it destroy it?
No, it's the left leg.
I'm so sad. Moderately sad. Well, that's shooting done.
Shooting done.
All mechs took severe damage this turn.
The Night Girl keeps upright, neither the destroyed hip nor the sheer amount of impacts managing to make the heavy mech fall.
The Griffin, likewise, keeps on its feet.
But whilst the Battle Cobra's pilot stays conscious despite the cockpit shot, in combination with the concentrated fire he finally does lose control over his machine and it falls over.
So I need to see in which direction I fall. 3 is 2 hex sides right. 1, 2. And fall down. And I take 4 points of damage from the right side because I fell on the right side.
Further damaging its leg in the process.
And giving the Lyran troops the needed morale boost to keep fighting on. Round 6.
And initiative.
I have to go first.
Okay, so you're at 11, I'm at 4, so you're 2 times.
2 times.
Nice. Well done.
After the inner sphere keeps their turrets set up as usual, the one surviving elemental and the urban mech continue their little song and dance. Whilst the Savannah Masters close in on the felled Battle Cobra, including the wayward one returning from north of the ridge.
Because that was just a stupid idea.
I can relate to those. But all of a sudden, the scales in the battle, elemental versus urban mech, are tipped.
I see.
Sergeant Major Hafner tries to drag his battered griffin deeper into the woods. He considers ejecting, but his enemies have more pressing matters to attend to than finishing off a mostly disarmed mech, so he stays.
The Star Commander likewise begins to back away, her mech finally starting to feel the damage it has endured over the course of battle. 1, 2. And that's my movement. If I run or jump, I will risk falling because hit.
In fact, all over the battlefield, soldiers are forced to do damage assessment.
Is there a particular reason you didn't move 1 space further?
Because it's...
Rotor hits, okay.
Yeah. And this will keep standing. Just so I have eyes everywhere.
Now everything is hinged on the Cobra getting back up to continue the fight. That's a 5, that is... It's
More
good.
than enough.
So he stands. However, once back on its feet, the mech doesn't find itself in the most enviable of positions. How much back armor does this have? Really not a lot. Wow, that's a bad spot. And I announced running too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
You can do that.
I can do that. I'm not sure if that's smart, but this is what I will do, because I can't really risk any back shots. So backpedal slowly while firing. So then, shooting phase. Well then, I think it's my turn again, isn't it?
It's your turn to start the turn.
It's my turn to start the turn. The Night Girl raises its guns, Commander Viola deciding it was high time to get rid of the enemy's eyes in the sky. The first hit only takes out the VTOL's SRM, but finally. And whilst the lasers go high, the PPCs go low.
But not even those can one-shot a tank that easily. And so, Bulldog 1 stays in play.
Still has armor left.
Oh well, worth a try. The Battle Cobra takes a cue from the Night Gun. Okay, both helicopters down.
Sturdy little trash can, isn't it?
Right, that was my infantry, and that was my turn.
Right.
Maybe I should have climbed it.
The Jade Falcon salvos were devastating. But they weren't the only ones firing. The hovercraft do their best to add what little they have to the battle.
You're my favorite now.
Kill that one first.
The Bulldogs crew are very aware that they have become the hard hit of the Steiner troops now, and as such, they will have to neutralize the Night Gear before it neutralizes them. They do admirably, but the heavy mech continues to shrug off weapons as if they meant nothing to it. Even Warrior 1, going down in flames and trying to get revenge, only wears it down a bit further, before the VTOL disappears in an explosion. Warrior 2 likewise tries to get revenge, and before hitting the ground,
at the right arm, goes internal and rips off the right arm. So, some last glory for Battle Cobra, down to one small pulse laser. Okay, that was that, I guess.
No.
Oh.
Hafner uses what little he has left, but the smell of burning plastic in his cockpit proves too distracting. And just when it seems like nothing could ever fell this giant, the LRM carrier's gunner locks in the target once more.
That's still the left leg and it's destroyed. No more crits needed. Now I need to see what happens if a leg gets torn off.
As her mech begins to sway and tilt to the side, Susan's mind begins to take in just how bad her situation really is.
Okay, I believe that Night Drill may be done for. You strip both arms, you strip the right torso mostly, 5 points left. Left torso is looking a bit better with 13 points left. The left leg is completely destroyed, the right leg has taken some damage. The right arm is completely stripped out of anything useful, except the ammo that could still blow up. Nightmare is pretty much done for.
Okay.
The Cobra's out of weapons.
Still has one.
Yeah, a small pulse laser, dealing 3 points of damage.
It's not like I have a whole lot left either. And you've still got your elementals.
So I fall over straight ahead. Slap. But since it's easier to see what direction it was facing this way, I'll keep it that way. Alright, almost no armor left there. And a floating crit on the 3 hit.
As the mech crashes into the ground to make matters even worse, one of the medium pulse lasers is bent out of shape and ceases to function. The commander likewise gets shaken through. Her vision blurs for a moment, but she manages to shake it off.
So, maybe this is the place to call it.
Maybe this is the place to call it.
Because, realistically, the Inner Sphere pilots would just think, what the hell are these things, and leg it.
Probably back to the repair facility that they've been trying to defend.
They might have wanted to salvage the clan tech, but they're probably pretty darn afraid of these things, which are, sadly, all around the potential salvage mechs. So, let's just call it here.
Let's just call it here. This is what is going to happen.
Conrad Hafner sees the Night Girl go to ground. And he sees the Battle Cobra's shoulder, smoke rising where there should be an arm attached. But the warriors are gone, the Hetzer's only smouldering wrecks. Bullock 1 reports serious loss of armor, and the LRM carrier's crew radios in that the ammunition is mostly gone. And God knows what is happening in the woods with the urban mech and those freaks in battle armor. But given that the enemy is almost unable to fight anymore, and the Night Girl won't be going much further with only one leg, Rückzug, wir hauen ab. Organized retreat seems in order.
Star Commander Susan Viola breathes a sigh of relief as she sees the blips moving away. But the feeling is only temporary, as she will never be able to justify these failures to a Star Captain. She had grasped for glory, but she's severely underbid. And now she will need to ask for assistance from the full Trinary on top of some repairs. This will stain her reputation. Today was not a good day.
That was certainly a battle. Time for some closing thoughts, I think. You do more of the talking, though my voice is going after this day. Luckily, we're almost done here.
Yep, that's fine. Let's start with what I thought about clan technology. They are so powerful. So much armor, so many weapons, so many heat sinks. They feel very powerful, but they are also very expensive points-wise. You can't really bring a lot of models when you play clans, and forcing your enemy to focus fire on your few models when every single one is that powerful, that's dangerous. Every single loss is felt greatly.
as opposed to vehicles. I brought a lot of those, and they're pretty cool. They're really easy to use, and in spite of me joking about it, there wasn't a lot of bookkeeping to be done on those. I basically just had a lot to do because I had a lot of stuff, but vehicles being this simple allowed me to bring this much stuff without slowing everything down to a crawl. So yeah, that's cool. And different vehicles also feel very different. VTOLs, the speedy hovercraft, the tanky tanks.
Yeah, this wasn't the first time we've used vehicles. We had a beach landing mission which, well, the vehicles made it into the backline on turn 1, where they proceeded to slide around all over the place and crash into woods and each other. So that was fun.
Probably though, why I was a bit overly cautious with using the flanking speed on the hovercraft here.
Yes, especially since a beached vehicle is incredibly fragile. Well,
Speaking of fragile,
light mechs are very fragile too, as I've learned. And while you always want to take out the light mechs, there's the question of, do you have time to shoot at the vehicles? Because there's just so many of them. And in the case of Savannah Masters, that's like 15 points of armor and structure that I have to chew through, only to get at 2 small bases?
the vehicles having that different feel also makes the mechs stand out that much more. As you said, more weaponry, but also the maneuverability, the way they keep standing up when parts of them fall off, the jump jets, everything cool they do becomes that much more cool, even though the vehicles aren't underpowered.
No, they certainly aren't. But speaking of different feel, I'm a bit sad we didn't get to use more of the battle armor. They can attack mech legs or climb up on them and take out the pilot and do a lot of cool stuff, assuming they make it into the enemy line without being blown to bits. I thought they were a lot tankier than they are, if AC-20s are pointed their way.
Either way, we can test out battle armor more in the future because Inner Sphere battle armor is on the way now, and so are the vehicles. Will be nice to get some actual models for them instead of having to use whatever we have at hand. Didn't mind using the World War II stuff, but having the actual models is better. Only thing I'm still up in the air about is I don't know if they will put these on their own hex bases or if they will keep them like that, because like this you can easily stack them in a hex. This didn't always go as good as that, but imagine having to stack 4 of those on top of each other.
That would be an adventure.
Oh well, by the time this video is out we can just look at the Kickstarter and see what they've cooked up.
I'm sure they've thought of that in some way. Speaking of stuff they thought about, regular infantry is totally a thing in this setting. And they are very important. However, they play a lot different from mechs or vehicles, which more or less use the same rule set. And bringing infantry, you also have to bring buildings. Because infantry likes to hide in buildings and shoot out the windows. And buildings can be shot at and destroyed. They can collapse when things land on top of them.
They have a whole bit of rules attached to them, and we didn't want to get into those this time. It's been enough.
Yeah, that will certainly be the next video. But until then, thanks for having made it this far. If you'd like, we'd be grateful for some feedback regarding the whole introduction section versus the narrative section. There's only that many rules we can cover, and once we're through, maybe we'll just do more narrative videos, fully narrative videos, if there's demand for it.
But for today, let's just pack this stuff away, call it a day, and get some R&R.
Good call. See you for the next video.